Here are the headlines tonight on this Tuesday on the Wise Guys. Tickets for BYU Notre Dame in Las Vegas. They're on sale right now to Cougar Club members. They'll have a chance to buy tickets through Thursday at a variety of levels, limited number for each person. If there are any left, they'll go on sale to the general public on Friday. BYU's allotment for that game, we've heard as much as 10,000 up to 15,000. Then we've heard less than that. I know your wife, Brenda, was online looking around for tickets today. There are no cheap tickets. Like if you're going, hey, maybe I'll find I think we saw the last row in Allegiant Stadium
the very top row.
$195 a seat.
That's right. And anything down close to like a good seat, $400 is what we were seeing. Now that's not resale. That's on the Notre Dame website.
Yeah.
So and it'll be interesting to see what BYU's are priced at, but they're going to have to go with whatever Notre Dame decides to price them at. They're going to be face value, but depending on where you want to sit, that's going to be a tough one. I
saw a couple of tweets of people going, I got my seats, but there's going to be a lot more this week of I didn't get my seats.
Can we call it weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that going this week.
The place only seats 65,000, which is a lot. Last year, BYU put in 54,000 for the Arizona game, and there were some Arizona fans in there, but it was mostly BYU. But this is a game that could be at the Rose Bowl, but it's going to be 65,000, and so more people want to get in than have seats, so the price just goes right up.
That's what happens, and so everybody always calls us, hey, do you have a hookup for tickets?
I know it.
Which we sometimes do. But not in a situation like this where Notre Dame controls the tickets. They're the home team. And so we just have no access. So guess what Brenda's doing tomorrow? She's getting online. We're legacy donors to the Cougar Club. Not ashamed to say that. And we're at a level where we don't even get to buy today. We get to buy tomorrow.
Right.
And we have a limited number of tickets. We can only get six tickets.
6?
Yeah, and we've got way more family.
And I hope you can get them because they've kind of spread it out to where all levels. And there will even be some offered to the general public, but there won't be very many.
Yeah.
But it's not like one group like today's A-listers can't just buy them all.
Right.
Or they would.
They would.
And the same thing for tomorrow and through the week.
There's going to be some left for the general public. I'm telling you, there'll be some, but be prepared to
pay through the nose.
Pay. So even coaches, so Gavin, my youngest is a coach, my youngest son, they get 4 tickets, but they have to buy them. Like, people don't understand that even coaches, even at BYU, the coaches have to buy their tickets. Players get comped 4 tickets. Coaches have to buy home tickets. Wow. They get up to 4 and they take it out of their check, which I think is nonsense, honestly. I think that needs to be fixed.
They should fix that.
That needs to be fixed.
So this BYU Notre Dame series, and the hubbub is this. Remember back on September 1st, 2010, BYU announces they're going independent in football, and they announce a 6-game series with Notre Dame. It's going to start with 2 games in South Bend and 1 in Provo. So the 2 games happened, 2012, 2013. We were back there for both of them.
Right.
The game in Provo never happens. And then time moves on. Notre Dame gets hooked up with the ACC for 4 or 5 games a year. The second 2-for-1, that goes away. That just flat out disappeared. But Notre Dame said all along, we're going to honor, we owe BYU a home game, we're going to honor that. But the last few years, they stopped saying home game, and they said, we're going to honor BYU a game.
Right.
And so, and all of a sudden it pops up in Las Vegas. Now, a lot of fans are mad, feeling like BYU got jilted here of a home game. Tennessee didn't want to come here, so they paid $2 million to get out. We're fine with that, I guess. Hey, that was the contract. There it is. There's the penalty. We moved on. There's really no weeping on that one.
And with the schedule the way it is now, they didn't need Tennessee on that schedule.
The weird thing with this one is it's BYU Notre Dame. Nobody's seeing that contract. Right? These are 2 private schools.
Right.
No one knows how much Notre Dame is paying BYU to go to Vegas. But we do know this. They are paying BYU to go play them in Vegas.
I have an inkling, and you do as well, that perhaps this game financially is worth more to BYU to go to Vegas than a home game would have even been.
Are you feeling
that? Are you feeling that?
Here's what
because of who you talk to.
Here's what Brian Santiago said on Sports Nation yesterday. I asked him this question: is it safe to assume that this is a Notre Dame home game, and they are paying BYU to play in Vegas? Are they paying enough that would offset a buyout of a home game, so it makes it a wash in the end? And here's his answer, quote, affirmative. It's actually very beneficial for us financially to play this game in Las Vegas. Notre Dame has been very generous. Remember that word. They've been very generous to us. And we're getting the game, which is why I give Tom Holmoe kudos. In our estimation, it's a double benefit for us. Financially, very viable to play the game. Notre Dame is very generous. And we are actually playing a game in a place where we're comfortable playing. I think the direction the game was headed with the change going on in college athletics, that we play the game now in Vegas or not get the game.
Right on.
So what do? You say, hey, Notre Dame, you owe us. We're going to take our ball and go home. We want nothing to do with you. And schedule somebody else.
Right.
A G5.
No, and here's the thing. I think Notre Dame probably came back to them and said, listen, you're in the Big 12 now. So this now gets as difficult for you as it has been for us to honor that agreement when we went into the scheduling agreement with the ACC. And see, Notre Dame, not only do they have the scheduling agreement with the ACC, they have a long-term and long-standing tradition with Stanford and with USC. So they play those teams every year. So now you're locked in with their ACC, and they don't have that many games that they can play. And frankly, would you want to play BYU if you're playing a schedule loaded with 10 basic P5 type? Do you want to add an 11th or a 12th?
No one's doing that.
Nobody's doing that. And so now I think Notre Dame probably comes and says, listen, now you know what we're talking about because you're in the Big 12 and you're looking down the road. And this is, we're never going to be able to figure this thing out.
And we really don't want to go there.
So how about this? We got the Shamrock Series in Vegas. We'll pay you, and it sounds like affirmative, very beneficial, very, very beneficial, very beneficial. Those are the words used, right? Sounds to me like, hey, we'll take care of you financially. And yes, Notre Dame's going to have more fans just because they control the tickets.
Right.
But BYU is very comfortable in Vegas. There'll be a ton of fans there supporting. It'll be a good environment. Hey, kudos to Notre Dame, actually, for Tom for getting them to do it, and for Notre Dame to say, in some way, shape, or form, we'd like to honor this agreement.
Because they could have sent a check and put their nose up in the air and then went and played Vegas.
Notre Dame could pay it off and just go the other way, and they didn't.
Now, Lean Weber's has chimed in on the show, said, called the ticket office today, BYU, got the sections and prices related to BYU. The cheapest section, 406 and 409, $140 a ticket.
Not bad.
Now, that's way up there. 140 ticket, that's pretty good compared to what we've heard. Best tickets in sections 106, 107 for $300 a ticket. Most of the other sections are northeast corner because Notre Dame only gave them sections to work with, not just, hey, you take this side. Northeast corner of the stadium or north end zone. I think that's where the band was for the Arizona game, between 200 and 250
So the question
apiece.
I have is 106 and 107, we're not looking at a map. Are 106 and 107 lower concourse, field side seats for $300?
I think anything, I don't know. Brian said that anything down low was going to be between $400 and $500.
Yeah.
But that was but they just went on sale today, so the ticket prices might be just a little bit different than what he thought he was going to see yesterday. But it's going to be a tough one. We're excited because Countdown to Kickoff is going to be there for 2 hours before the game, so we'll give you everything we can.
Yeah, I'm looking up the stadium map because I want to see where 106 and 107 are.
But and it's and if BYU's 5-0 and the Irish are 5-0, if BYU's beaten Baylor and Oregon and Notre Dame has beaten Ohio State,
honestly, if BYU's 5-0 going into that and Notre Dame's 5-0, it'd be really, really nice to have those tickets because they're going to be worth a lot more than the 300.
Keep going up.
So I'm looking for 106 and 107 on here.
It says here that lower bowl in the corner. And
zone. 06 and 07 is. You can see that, Dave. That's
where the band was last year.
Yeah, that's that's lower bowl court. Okay. I don't think. Can we zoom in far enough to? I don't think we can. DJ.
But just imagine the corner of that area where the band was last year.
I don't know if you guys can, but it's the. If I'm,
they're not great seats.
If I'm looking at the field like this, it's the corner across from where BYU's bench was the last time they played down there.
At least it's a seat inside, and that's the cheapest we've heard. Notre Dame's using a lottery system for their fans. They got more fans that want to get to this game that can get tickets as well, and so this is how it's going down.